Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel, and I want to still talk a little bit more about what's going on in LA since it is the biggest story of the day. A few things have been said today that I thought needed to be said, included some threats flying back and forth. Gavin Newsome is saying, "Come arrest me." Well, it looks like it may happen, folks. Trump's weighed in on this. Tom Homan's weighed in on this. The National Guard is there. They are weighing in on it physically. And we now have a breaking story about Marines being brought in as well. So stick around, folks. We're fixing to get to it. Going to play this little clip. Hope I don't get a copyright strike behind it, but I really do like the song. It's fitting for the fact that what's going on this video clip, where they're actually not just arresting illegals, but they're arresting violent protesters that are acting a fool out there. I think they've arrested about 42 people is what I read earlier today. It looks like to me they should have arrested 542 by now. Anybody that has caused any kind of destruction, thrown rocks at anybody, any vehicles, their ass need to go to jail. And I believe the the cameras will do a lot of that. A lot of these people will be arrested, and they will have to be given federal charges in order for the charges to stick, being in the woke state of California. But the governor, the mayor, and several of the local politicians, including crazy Mad Maxine Waters, are on the hot seat today behind the fact that they may be catching charges for inciting this crap, allowing it, and basically doing everything they can to foment this action by supporting it. It's ridiculous, folks. We've seen the comments over the last couple of days and the tweets from Gavin Newsome. He thinks it's all hunky-dory there. We don't need the National Guard. Just let it burn. That's the real attitude there in California for these crazy leftists. You got to remember, he's Nancy Pelosi's nephew. That says it all right there. He's just a wicked younger version of Nasty Nancy. She treated California about the same way for many, many years, so no surprise there. All right, folks, let's get into it. Let's play this first clip here. Do love the song.
Get the fuck out the commode with the short shot. Sure to make the bodies drop. Dropping no copio or call us a co-op. Terror rains drenching, quenching the thirst of the power dawn. That five-sided fist are gone. That rotten get the fuck out.
You know what that is, folks? That is protesters being arrested. This actually black-haired guy here was one of the people that was jumping on top of the police car. I've seen many hours of footage over the last 24 hours, and there is tons and tons of people on film doing violence. This is not the BLM riots. They are not going to get away with it again. That is not going to fly this time. I just have to believe that. So hopefully we're going to get hundreds and hundreds of immediate arrests. Excuse me. Now, this is one of the breaking stories that I actually want to bring y'all a video today about. It is about the 700 U.S. Marines that are being deployed to L.A. to help deal with the problem. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Trump. It's gotta stop soon. We've got to squish this, otherwise it'll happen in every city. The left is already trying to make it happen. On MSNBC, they're talking about, oh, I don't know why this ain't happening in every town. Well, they may be liable for that as well, inciting violence before it's all said and done. They don't know who they're dealing with, so they're fixing to find out. FAFO may be the final result to a lot of politicians behind this very issue. It says about 700 Marines have been mobilized in response to the violent LA riots, according to CNN. 700 Marines with the 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, 1st Marine Division, Northcom said. Please release via U.S. Northern Command. The Northern Command has activated the Marine Infantry Battalion that was placed in an alert status over the weekend. Approximately 700 members will seamlessly integrate with the Title 10 forces under Task Force 51, who are protecting federal personnel and federal property in the greater LA area. So they're going to just relocate them from one side of town to the other. It should happen quickly then. Activation of the Marines is intended to provide Task Force 51 with adequate number of forces to provide continuous coverage of the area in support of the lead federal agencies. I mean, they'll be able to bring in helicopters and things, hopefully to be able to squish the problem. Task Force 51 in the U.S. North Contingency Command Post, which provides a rapidly deployable capability of partners with civil authorities and DoD entities in response to Homeland Defense and Homeland Security operations. It is commanded by Major General Scott Sherman. So that is the, I guess, headquarters for where they have several agencies that come together to work in a task force to fix the problem. This Task Force 51 is comprised of approximately 2,100 National Guards in a Title 10 status and 700 active duty Marines. Task Force 51 has been trained in de-escalation, crowd control, and standing rules for the use of force. Says a press release, Northern Command is the one that dropped this today. We are suing Donald Trump for bringing the military to our fine state. No, that ain't what he says. Gavin Newsome says, this is a manufactured crisis. It was made up by the rioters. No, he says Trump is creating fear and terror and taking over the state militia and violating the Constitution. I bet Gavin Newsom has never read the Constitution. I would bet on that. The illegal order he signed that could allow him to send the military in to any state he wishes. Blah, blah, blah. Gavin Newsom is talking out his ass. He wasn't going to use the National Guard. He was just going to let it burn. Trump stepped in like he did with the fires. And now Gavin Newsom just mad because he looks stupid. Gavin Newsom probably can't actually try to squash this problem there himself because he's got too many political activists in his state that are his donors. The money behind the machine, the Democrat Party, wants this. They're enjoying this. Whether you know it or not, when they see a row of cars on fire and people acting like fools in the street, pelting the cops with bricks, the left loves it. That's just the fact, folks. We're dealing with a spiritual war here. This is not just the left versus the right. This is evil people that have really got a warped sense of mentality, fighting against anybody and everybody that stands for good, including the police. Some of those police were possibly Democrats that got pelted with rocks. Why are they pelting them? Because they showed up to protect the citizens there. This is straight up vigilante crap. These rioters need to be dealt with in the harshest of ways. I hope they come in there and kick ass, take names, hose these people down with some dye. That way they can be identified at a later date if they get away. Come in there with those water cannons, which work pretty good for crowd control. They tend to knock you about 6 or 8 feet back, but after a few of you get hit with one, it doesn't take long for the rest of the crowd figures it out. Real crowd control. And hopefully they will resort to some of those tactics. Just my opinion, folks. Says the anti-ICE rioters set several Waymo self-driving cars on fire. It looks like there's about 5 cars on fire. Do you support mass deportations? Of course we do. And you notice they're not waving the American flag. They're waving the Mexican flag like they have done planted their flag in our country. They're here. They're here to stay. We are the new Mexico. I don't think so. We are not going out like that. Trump is fixing to come in with the full brunt of the force. Another police cruiser's been smashed. I have seen probably 24 cop cars that have just been effed off behind bricks. It's a crazy mess, folks. I hate to bring you the crappy news, but hopefully we're going to get some resolution pretty quick. Trump issues a new warning. He calls these people insurrectionists. You know what that means, don't you? They can be treated like domestic terrorists. You should be able to lock them up indefinitely underneath D.C.'s jail. Keep them there with no trial for years on end. Ain't that the rules for insurrectionists? No, there was no insurrection on January 6th. There was a design, plot, and plan to make it look like an insurrection, but it didn't work out too well in the end because of the fact that nobody showed up with weapons. But all in all, this looks more like an insurrection. Attacking cops, planting another country's flag, or in our country, burning, looting, destroying businesses, and the government of the state is behind it, agrees to it, says nothing to see here. Trump needs to drop the hammer on these folks. I'm talking about the big hammer, like Thor's hammer. And I am so ready. All right, folks, we're fixing to get into it. Let's see what Trump's got to say about it.
Even if you don't plan to invoke the Insurrection Act, do you plan to send troops to Los Angeles?
What?
Even if you're not planning to invoke the Insurrection Act, you still plan to send troops?
Well, we're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart like it was under Biden.
Insurrection Act's what they're saying.
What is the bar for sending Marines to
The bar is what I think it is. I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order. We're going to see what we need. We'll send whatever we need to make sure there's law and order.
Mr. President, do you foresee those protests spreading to other cities, Chicago, New York, for example?
Law and order.
Yes, we're going to be watching it very closely. And when they spit at people, you know, they spit. That's their new thing. They spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right? And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away, and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard.
What are the rules of engagement for federal troops?
Drew a line in the sand.
If we think there's a serious insurrection or less than that, we're going to have law and order. Very important.
How would you define an insurrection?
You have to really just have to look at the site. You have to see what's happening. Last night in Los Angeles, we watched it very closely. There was a lot of violence there. There was a lot of violence, and it could have gotten much worse. And you have an incompetent governor. Just take a look at the train stations that he's building. Like 20 times over budget.
All right, we're going to go to the next clip. I don't want to hear about Gavin Newsom's overpriced boondoggle train station get-rich-quick scheme. Says, now, Tom Homan was asked if he should arrest Gavin Newsom, and he said it's not really up to me, but if he breaks the law, anyone who breaks the law or impedes or obstructs these ICE raids absolutely deserves to be prosecuted. And he just kind of left it at that. Well, President Trump responds to California Riot, says, I think Gavin Newsom should go to jail. So what does Gavin Newsom say? Says, Tom, arrest me. Let's go. Let's just get it over with. That's what Gavin Newsom says. Tough guy. Newsom said in response to Homan's suggestion that he and L.A. Mayor Karen Bass could be arrested if they crossed that line. And harboring, concealing illegal aliens, or assaulting law enforcement. There it is. All right, folks, we got another great clip for you here. Trump being asked the right question.
He's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I was Tom. I think it's great.
Says, if you were Tom Homan, would you go arrest him? Would you do it? Trump says, if I was Tom, I would do it.
Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it'd be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent.
Grossly
Everybody
incompetent,
knows.
Gavin.
All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a...
Gavin Newsom, if it was up to him, he would be arrested. It's really up to Tom. So look at here, Gavin Newsome may be the next one on the chopping block. That would be awesome to see his ass go to jail. Maybe he'll be the martyr for the left. Maybe that's what he's looking for. Maybe he thinks he's got to be a felon or a convict to be able to relate to his people. Now, CNN panel was triggered by this last video that I brought y'all. They're not triggered by the violence. They're not triggered by the riots. They're not triggered by the injuries. All the cops that have been pelted with rocks. I seen a cop get hit right in the head with a piece of a brick. No compassion there on CNN for that stuff. But instead, they're worried about Trump using terms like insurrection.
What does your intel tell you about these people causing all the problems in LA? Are they people ICE is trying to deport, or are they professional agitators?
The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators. They're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail. Thank you.
It's like you queued him up, Priscilla. That word he used, they're insurrectionists. That I can't imagine that was an accident, because it seems as though that is the place that the White House is trying to get.
The definition.
And for the president, it's icing on the cake that he can do it in the state of California, because on a whole host of issues, he has had California, Gavin Newsome in particular, in his sights. The question he was asked was about Newsome.
So she's saying this is happening there because Trump's picking on Newsome because he hates California. It's really about Trump and Newsome. It has nothing to do with the riots. The fact that Tom Homan is just doing his job, going from state to state to state, knowing that California is a hot mess when it comes to illegals and sanctuary state, sanctuary city problems. It's the hotbed to go fix the problem. It's got nothing to do with her opinion.
Daring Tom Homan to come and arrest Newsome, and the president responded, "I would do it," and then he said, "Gavin wants the publicity."
This is a very serious word that's being thrown around now, insurrection. That's a rebellion of the states or people in the states against the federal government. That is not something to be trifled with. If, for example, to your point, the president were to invoke the Insurrection Act, I think we would have yet another legal morass. It would be another instance of the way that the White House is trying to declare emergencies or insurrections in order to unlock vast powers which most presidents don't have access to. More broadly, the immigration issue, that is the track that we're going down with this administration.
It has been the track.
No! I don't know that this is an insurrection. I don't know if that's the proper language. I think it is a mutiny of American citizens that hate our country. It's borderline treasonous. Now, you're allowed to go out there and protest First Amendment rights. I am all for that. Get out there and holler your head off with your picket sign about whatever ideology you believe is worth fighting for. I am all for it, no matter how crazy it is. You're welcome to do that. That is our first right as constitutional citizens of this republic. And so I encourage people to go out and protest if you feel the need. But I don't encourage people to riot and firebomb and throw bricks and Molotov cocktails and firecrackers, and just the whole violence thing takes it to a different level. It is no longer a peaceful protest when a handful of people get stupid, and then you got hundreds of people getting stupid. And then you got to bring the military in. Well, this is nothing new. Our country has dealt with the military and the National Guard being brought in on our streets. Matter of fact, it's happened in L.A. half a dozen times in L.A.'s history. Over George Floyd, over several things, over Rodney King. L.A.'s had plenty of riots. They had riots in the 60s and in the 70s as well. These college campuses in L.A. were always the hotbed mess to push all this narrative to get these young people out on the streets acting a fool. But in the past, the National Guard come in and usually squashed it pretty quickly. And I hate to see people have to be cracked in the head at this point in time in order to straighten up. But if you don't belong in this country, you need to go. If you think the people that don't belong here need to stay, you're welcome to that opinion. But don't go out there and be a criminal. Because once you cross that line of protesting to riot and violence, you're just a criminal. And I have no mercy for you. I have no sympathy for you. I think you done crossed the line. And you've lost your ability to scream, "I got rights," when you're defying other people's rights. And cops did deserve to be pelted with rocks. That crap really just pisses me off, to be truthful. I have a lot of respect for the cops. Not 100% of the cops are great people. That's a fact. But for the most part, where would our world be if we didn't have cops, if we didn't have National Guard, if we didn't have Border Patrol, if we didn't have our military out there helping police the world to keep peace at bay? That's just the facts, folks. And I think anybody that is on the left today, like Mad Maxine Waters, those people need to be held accountable for inciting violence. Mike Johnson, he's got a solution for everything. He says if these Democrats incite riots with their conversation, it is beneath us. It is beneath it's beneath the etiquette of the Congress. So he says we may have to censure some people. So Mike Johnson's got a big old "we'll censor you" threat kind of veiled there on the speech. So it's, we may get you next time with a stark warning and a bad mark against your name. No gold star for you in kindergarten. That's what's really going on. I knew what censured meant, but I want to go ahead and read it to y'all in case you don't know. It is a do-nothing charge. It says, for example, in the U.S., the House or the Senate may censure one of its members for actions like corruption, abuse of power, inciting a riot, violating ethical standards, and so many other things that the Democrats do. It requires a majority vote and is less severe than expulsion. So 51 people, which removes someone from office. So it's not an expulsion. It's just basically not even a slap on the wrist. It says in historical cases included in 1834 censure of President Andrew Jackson by the Senate, later expunged, or the 1998 censure resolution proposed by Bill Clinton. There's been a few other censures that have happened along the way as well. I think one of the squad got censured. Censure doesn't carry any legal consequences, okay? But can damage an official's reputation, really, and political standing. Dang it, they've been censored. We can't vote for them. It's a rare action, often used when behavior is serious but doesn't warrant removal. If you want specific example or details or particular government processes, let Grok know. I was over here doing the AI Grok question. So a censure does not carry any, see this right here, does not carry any legal consequences or damages. Okay, so it's a darn, we wish you wouldn't do that. Now we're going to tell everybody. That is so weak, Mike Johnson. I hate to say that, but it is absolutely true. Mike Johnson is milquetoast at best. Now, I hope you've seen this or not. This is a little Donald Trumpo meme that I thought was quite clever. Came out yesterday. Let me get it started. All right, here we go. This is the good stuff, folks. I love it, folks. Tell me what you think about that video. Like, subscribe, and share. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful week. I am doing a sock drive. Anybody want to be a participant in it, even as much as giving me some heads up on some research, the best place on the internet or Amazon to find the best deal on socks. Anybody want to do some research for me? I don't have the time, but I definitely want to spend about $75 or $100 in the next couple of weeks on a bulk sock package. Anybody want to do some research for me? Please let me know in the comment section down below. I'm asking for help. I don't have time, but I definitely want to do this to help the homeless one of these weekends here over the next 3 or 4 weeks. I'm putting it together, getting it started, and trying to get some help with some research. Help me, please. If nothing else, give me a thumbs up and a subscription if you haven't already. If you're not subscribed and you watch my full video, I don't know what's wrong with you. I assume everybody listening at this point is subscribed. So all I can say is, if it was a wonderful video to you, you can always share it to somebody. And if not, have a great day. Over and out.